and welcome to Henson Park for today's Winfield Cup clash between Eastern Suburbs and South Sydney. After wins over Manly and Canterbury, Arthur Beetson has his boys in line for number 3 against South Sydney, and their full team today is Worth, Morris, Smith, Melrose, Lydon, Hall, Spiner, Truella, Gillmeister, McGann, Peter Johnston in 26, Simpkins and Shepherd. George Pickens knows a win today is vital for a chance of finishing in the top 3, and his team rundown is Cruickshank, Harrington, Marvin, Blake, Moon, Ellison, Coleman, Andrews, Boyle, number 11, Davidson, number 10, Lindsay Johnson, number 21, Fennick, Ian is Greg McCallum. Well, South Sydney about to kick off in this all-important game. Eastern Suburbs are going to be receiving the ball, and the kick-off goes deep. McGann takes it as usual and brings it out to the quarter. A little bit of settling down play, watching Simpkins run from dummy half on a couple of occasions. There's a bad fumble there, but there's been a penalty awarded against the South Sydney markers, I think, for spreading. One going either side of the ruck. So that's a bit of relief after the ball was knocked on a dummy half there.
That's something Greg McCallum was very harsh on last Monday night, that penalty that cost a draw situation for Canterbury against Eastern Suburbs. I'm looking for a pretty fiery opening today from the South Sydney forwards especially. They haven't been in the best of form, all-important clash. And the likes of Les Davidson and David Bohr back today. I'm looking for a few fireworks in the opening minutes.
Danny Shepherd came straight through the ruck. Spina's at dummy half now onto Truella, the pocket battleship I call it. Enormously quick into stride. Switch of play across the ruck, using Slippery Morris as there as the wing three-quarter as one of the runners. Spina, McGann, up over the halfway line, centre field. Simpkins, pass goes to ground, picked up there nicely by Hall. Truella out to Melrose. Kick downfield by Joe Lydon. I think it's going to find touch. It does. It's a good touch finder. It brings play to a point about 5 metres inside South Sydney's quarter. And the sideline, David Fordham, you've got any breeze to report down there?
Yes, Rex, there is a noticeable breeze at the back of Eastern Suburbs in this first half, coming from the northeast. I'd say it's probably about a 4 or 5 point breeze. But the interesting thing is the state of the ground. We've had a lot of rain in Sydney this week, but it's absorbed the wet weather very, very well indeed, which is all good well for a great clash, as Graham mentioned, a strong clash of the forwards early, but a chance on this great Henson Park surface to see these two speedy backlines in full flight in this match. Yes, the ground is in first-class order. We have no reason for excusing any of the players for losing their footing on this. Well, the penalty's gone to South Sydney. Ellison takes it. Finds it midway between the quarter and the halfway. South Sydney have got to pick themselves up a bit. They've been a little bit down on form the last couple of matches. Ian Roberts getting upended there, put down by Simpkins. I think the referee was looking away at the end of that. Mario Fennick underneath a heavy tackle there from Johnston. Les Davidson lost the ball on that tackle. That's something that's become a part of his game now, watching him lose possession a couple of times. He's got to lift that part. There's a long cut-out pass to Hall. McGann showing the ball outside, then turning inside. Worth. About 3 metres from the halfway line. Johnston goes up the blind side, stands in the tackle, gets it back on the inside. Smith. Not a Shepherd, gets Beltman in the tackle there, his body convoluted. Or convulsed, I should say. Last tackle. Paul Spina gets the kick downfield. I doubt it's gone directly where he wanted it to. The Eastern Suburbs player that's there is way offside. Smith really is, well, I'd be surprised if he wasn't 15 or 20 yards offside there.
voluntarily offside. You'll catch him in the top left-handed frame, David Smith. 5 or 10 metres in front of the man that kicked the ball, taking the referee on here just in case McCallum had been unsighted, but he was perfectly back on the infield there and a good decision.
Bennett onto Johnston. He'll probably only get half a game, Johnston. There's the thought that they'll bring Chisholm on for his all-round workload and work rate. Mario Fennick powers forward. Coleman, good driving, low trajectory kick, finds touch about 15 metres out from Eastern Suburbs line. That is a good kick, a quality kick, and just what's needed.
This is the area of their game that has to be spot on today. That all-important kicking game from Coleman and Mark Ellison, because Eastern Suburbs have so many dangerous players from the backfield in Worth and Joe Lydon and Stevie Morris. A good kicking game can only be backed up also throughout the afternoon by the good chasers in big numbers.
Well, that ball took a hell of a time to come out, but it finally did to Spina. Chuella getting up round the quarter, midfield. Worth. McCann. Melrose. Smith. Gone round his man. Tackled 10 metres short of the halfway line. Morris. Melrose. Rebound. Hall puts it down on the ricochet. And that's a South Sydney ball. A little bit of lack of attention to detail there. The ball came very easily to him. He just wasn't ready for it. Good pass there to the fullback Cruickshank coming in. Timed his run well. Fennick. Ellison. Coleman. On to Roberts. Pass away. Out quickly to Marvin. Out to Harrington. Harrington goes upfield. He's got inside. Oh, the pass there. He had a man out there, but the pass went straight away to Eastern Suburbs' Tony Melrose. He's picked it off. Good intercept. And Melrose comes up with a run out to the quarter. McGahn takes over. Gets plenty of attention when he runs, McGahn, I can tell you, from all teams, not just South Sydney. A bit of a facelift there. Close to being through there, Simpkins. It's a handover. Moving it out along the South Sydney line now, out to Ellison. Eastern Suburbs up very quickly there. Boyle. No score in the match. We've had about 8 minutes of play. Johnson slips. And Johnson tackles. Davidson came close there. Andrews on the blind side to Mario Fennick. Well, they handle that very well. Coleman. It's a high towering bomb. It should be okay for Worth. Takes it beautifully. 10 metres out from his line. Well tackled. Hall. Morris. Chuella, always good for a few metres. And there's a penalty going to be awarded against Lindsay Johnson. Lydon's gone for an enormously long kick, which has found touch. A very high, towering type of a kick. And Eastern Suburbs back in possession from the tap restart. McGahn goes right through the middle. I thought thought he had options on either side then. He died with the ball. Worth, Hall, spins in a tackle, about 15 metres out. Tuella. Well, can he get his arms through? Melrose, Spina. Turn it back inside to Worth, and Worth under the post for a try. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Came flying on the burst. It was reminiscent of a try we scored earlier in the season here.
On the State Bank replay, great play from East. They built up to this. They haven't been making mistakes in this first half to date. Laurie Spina being able to stand, and the man that read the play so beautifully coming from the back, Gary Worth. He knows how to pick out a gap. The men that he likes to run off right throughout the season of 87 has been Laurie Spina, this man here, and also Hugh McGahn. He tends to follow and trail them everywhere. And what better way to pick up a pass back up on the inside than a try right under the black dot. He really does read it. You watch him coming from the back play, just trailing there in the headgear. He sights the opening, calls for the ball, and a great pass back inside from Spina that sends him on his way.
Yes, full of congratulations for that one. That was perfectly timed. The epitome of good fullback running. David Smith to take the kick. With ease, Eastern Suburbs 6, South Sydney 0. Well, Morris takes the kick off and takes it very well. Gets out to the corner. Tuella. There's Johnson coming away. Very nearly lost it. Morris again a dummy half on a Tuella. He gets pushed backwards. They're still pushing him back. There's Davidson and Johnson with the two. McGahn. Melrose has his kick charge down. Can't find it. It was South Sydney ball. Very quick reflexes there from Les Bourne to fall on that. It's going to be a thundering kick. Already Tony Melrose has had 2 kicks charged down. They're up very quickly on him. Mavin gets to his feet and plays it. Roberts goes close to the ruck, built it hard, back slam. Little move on there with Ellison giving dummies to decoy runners. They didn't get the ball, he did. Coleman puts that down. Oh, yes! It's a try, and it's a try to Roberts. It's an incredible try. He flew above Worth there on that occasion. Unbelievable. We'll have to see whether he was onside, but have a look at this.
Great kick from Craig Coleman, but a magnificent take. We saw Ian Roberts do this at the semi-finals with SCG last year. One of the tallest men on the field, if not the tallest. He doesn't have to leave the ground by far to get up above the likes of Gary Worth. Worth was running backwards. He was just unsighted and put off maybe by the goalpost at first, but brilliantly read by Roberts, coming from certainly well and truly onside. One of the few occasions that you see this incident where a bomb situation brings about a try in 1987. But here comes the big man now, and he doesn't have to leave that ground by too far. But what a beautiful take to put it down. And again, the try's being scored right underneath the black dot.
Yes, that keeps South Sydney well and truly in the running. That was an inspirational sort of a try. Ian Roberts surely excelled. A metre behind when the kick was taken. A sprint of something in the order of about 25 yards to get to the point of taking the ball. And then this young man leapt high. He didn't have to leap all that high, it's been said, because he towered over Worth anyway, but up he went. And it was a beautiful high mark. Ellison to take the kick directly in front, 11 metres out. No trouble. After 14 and a half minutes, 6-all. Well, David Smith to restart. Well, if those two tries are going to be an an example of the quality of the try we'll see in the balance of this match. I'm avidly waiting for them. Harrington feels the ball and he's in goal. Surges out. About 12 metres. Coleman. Boyle. Yes, and in the meantime, let's not forget the under-23s in reserve grade. They play an important part in rugby league. South Sydney 26, Eastern Suburbs 8 in under-23s. A high-scoring but entertaining match. Eastern Suburbs 27, South Sydney 16. A lot of pushing and shoving here. The referee has walked from the blind side round to the open, told them to move a few more yards infield. Eastern Suburbs. Spina. Melrose out to Worth. Blake read that well. Hall surrounded by defenders. Lydon. Spina got a pass away beautifully, and the referee has said it was forward. Laurie Spina looks like a danger man in this match. There's little doubt that the referee was correct in that. Holding the ball in the scrum, not a ploy you usually see in rugby league, see it often in rugby union. And they've got themselves a penalty for offside. Ellison to take the kick. From the quarter up to midway between the quarter and the halfway. Johnson. Bit by McGann and Shepherd. There's the lineup of talent waiting to come on. Coleman. Oh, that pass was wisely held back. It was going to be forward. Ellison. Back to Cruickshank to Boyle. He's built that out of the play. And that will be a caution to young Dave Smith. Giving a short left hand to the jaw. Well, it was not a left hand, it was a right hand, but it was to the jaw. Simpkins. Johnson unloading one-handed, but not great passes. Smith changing his mind, going back the open side, loses the ball in the tackle. Johnson dives on it. Roberts, Coleman. That pass was forward to Jason Moon, and the referee has seen it. Quite clear. Coleman obviously looking for ways around this Eastern Suburbs defence. Laurie Spina. Hall. Oh, he did very well to hold that, really. He juggled it, was hit in the process of juggling it. Chuella. Back on the inside to McGann. McGann there, away to Melrose. Melrose running beautifully. Pass out there to Lydon. Lydon's in for a try. It's a sweet try. It's a try that Eastern Suburbs supporters will swoon over. It's got all the backs in it and it looks the goods. See it again.
This is
is where all the problems were coming for South Sydney last week. On the fringe of the ruck, this is where the tackles are being missed badly against Cronulla last weekend. Truella was able to unload, stand there. Huey McGann trailed him through superbly. And Tony Melrose had too much pace just out here. Mario Fennick did well to try and get across to hold him. But the free run to the line here for Joe Lydon. And South Sydney paying the penalty now in the rucks, but not moving up in that straight defensive line. They're saying to hang back, run across field, just watch the ball carrier, just watch and wait and see what he's going to do with the ball, and all that does is allow plenty of space and room to move for the likes of the ball players like Huey McGann. Tony Melrose backing up superbly there, and Joe Lydon, well, if you're going to give him a free run to the line, probably the quickest man on the football field. That's all he had to do was just finish the movement off, and Eastern Suburbs opening this first half up in really competent fashion.
We're getting here McGann spoken to there by the touch judge. Nothing has come of it, evidently. And it's worthwhile remembering that Smith kicked 5 goals from 5 attempts last Monday night. 1 from 1 so far today. He was really in the groove. John Tobin, one of the replacement players in the Eastern Suburbs bench. Horry Hastings sitting there, all hoping and praying this kick will go over. Eastern Suburbs 10, South Sydney 6. The kick about 2 metres in from the sideline, a metre out from the quarter line. Made one of the touch judges run across. It's obviously been just a fraction to the left. So Eastern Suburbs 10, South Sydney 6. Ellison to restart. Well taken by Johnston. Out beyond the quarter line, 3 or 4 metres. Shepherd to McGann. Gillmeister. I've seen a whole lot of Gillmeister in the opening stanza of this game. Beautifully taken by Melrose, but had to hasten his kick. It's ballooned up in the air, taken by Harrington. He's tackled about 3 metres short of the halfway line. And that's a good penalty. Eastern Suburbs were never onside, I thought. An excellent crowd in attendance here. They're standing around the back of the ground, but you don't see that often at Henson Park. Well, look at that crowd up there standing high on the hill. They're there in their thousands. I think we've got something in the order of 16 or 17,000 here today. Marvin's handling has let him down again. The ball has gone to Spina, out to Morris, back on the inside, spins through a tackle, gets going again. Oh, gee, you've got to be very wary of Morris when he's on the move. McGann up the blind side to Truella. That short, stocky, compact body. Worth, Spina, Shepherd, forward pass. Little doubt about that. We've got a touch judge in now.
The touch judge will be in for the last tackle on Craig Coleman on David Truella. Truella complaining somewhat, I think, about a claim of a headbutt coming from Coleman in the tackle. 2 of the little men, he's built to the ground, Truella. Craig Coleman trying to get this South Sydney forward lineup rolling, a bit of fire back into their pack. That fire that I mentioned at the start of the game is certainly missing, and there was a complaint from Truella about the headbutt and a bit of a forearm to say, I'm still around.
Craig Coleman in and out onto Ellison, throws the dummy, got through the hall tackle, out to Coleman. Boyle, there's Davidson, nicely back. Blake loses the ball, picked up by Johnston. Hall, Truella, charging ahead. Simpkins, pass along the ground out to Spina. Spina to Melrose. Looked inside, but there was no one there. Morris goes to dummy half. Oh, swinging arm from Mavin. Simpkins, Spina, Hall. Showing the ball, but going on his own. Last tackle. McGann. Back to Smith, the attempted field goal. Just away to the right. Cruickshank very well back into the field of play. Got the pass on to Mavin. He was facing the wrong way when he took that, Mavin. Coming back onside. Great tackle from McGann on Moon. Davidson. Ball spurted out the back. South Sydney under pressure at the moment. Ellison's kick is a hurried one, but it's still going to be effective. Worth gets between that, the ball and the sideline, feels it. Oh, he's torn his way right through. Got a pass out to Morris. Morris goes round his man, gets a pass back on the inside, goes to Smith. Smith only 7 metres out. This is dynamic stuff from Eastern Suburbs. They're ripping the heart out of South Sydney. There's a penalty. Reaching through the ruck.
Ian Roberts knows this is a penalty, but I think he's pretty wise in the situation. He certainly had the numbers 2 and 3 wide out on the left, and the try was on back out on the backs for Eastern Suburbs. So they might be willing to concede the 2 points rather than 6.
I think probably Ian Roberts is reasonably lucky that he didn't get sin bin for that professional type foul. Second half, last 20 minutes certainly. Gives Smith the opportunity of another kick. Well, it's virtually an identical kick to the last one he missed from the other side. What's the betting on this one, David?
Well, the breeze will come across left to right. He'll be aiming just outside that left-hand upright. Rex trying to drift it back in. I mentioned that it's about a 4 or 5 point breeze. I'd say that Eastern Suburbs coach Arthur Beetson would be a little bit concerned at only a 4-point lead at this stage, because this breeze is freshening. So these 2 points, very vital indeed. But Smith has answered the prayers of Arthur Beetson on this ground on 3 or 4 occasions this year. Let's see what he does right now.
Okay, well, he's had 1 from 2. 3 metres outside, 3 metres in from the sideline. Oh, he's had what you'd call a brain explosion on that one. That went straight out to the right by about 15 metres to the right of the right-hand upright. So the score remains East 10, South Sydney 6. Again, takes the kick off beautifully from the corner, brings it back over the halfway line. Trying to milk it for a penalty. Again, peremptorily said, get to your feet. Morris. Well, that pass was not directed at anyone. Out to Melrose. Smith. It's switching the play. It's good stuff from Eastern Suburbs. Gillmeister. Looks like a change of possession there. South Sydney have come up with it. Andrews. Coleman, quick hands to Davidson. Trying to get that last pass away. Roberts was on the inside. Ellison. Eastern Suburbs defence has been good. Mario Fennick. About 10.5 minutes to go. Coleman. Ellison. Pass went to Morris, and he's shown his skill and that electrifying pace, bringing it back about 15 metres. Again, Melrose, Worth. About 7 metres short of the halfway line. Johnston runs a long way to get involved in that ruck. Began. Spina, kick ahead. Be taken by Cruickshank. Easily, wrong puts the defence coming. Blake did everything right, except he just wasn't quite fast enough in the last shuffle when he got himself into the clear. Boyle. Mavin. Put down by Truella. Boyle. Johnson proving himself a strong man. There's another kick charge down. That's the third from memory. Some awful passing from dummy half. Bennett Hall out to Worth. Worth sights an opening. Goes straight through it. He's on the fly. He's got Joe Lydon on the outside of him. Gives it a line. Lydon will go in and score. And Worth saying to him, round between the posts, round between the posts. And the Pommy supplies the expertise to go round there. Good one. Beautiful try to Eastern Suburbs. Worth made it. Worth did everything but score it. See it again.
That was all too easy for Eastern Suburbs on the State Bank replay. Some sloppy passing in the back line that should have enabled the defence plenty of time to move up and chop that off out wide. But Souths are standing back, as I said, and just watching Eastern Suburbs and waiting to see what they do with the football. And if you stand back, they've got the quickest back line in the business. They're going to cause you all sorts of problems when you leave room, and plenty of room, that is, at all, to move for the likes of Worth, Lydon and Stevie Morris. You watch those passes, the defence running straight across field instead of straight up and in on their defensive man and leaving the gaps out wide. Andrews was caught in no man's land there, and plenty of pace, as I said, in the likes of Worth and Joe Lydon. An uninterrupted run to the line again for the English winger, and hasn't he got some toe, especially when he doesn't have to beat anybody to get to the line, and again the ball being pushed underneath those uprights.
Yes, well worth seeing. Good stuff. They've gone to 14-6. The kick is from directly in front. Smith shouldn't have any trouble. He doesn't, just cozies it over. So, Eastern Suburbs now race away to a 16 points to 6 lead over Souths. Well, one change I'm expecting to see at some stage is Phil Blake on for South Sydney. He has scored 2 tries in reserve grade the last 2 weeks.
It's essential now with the situation. They're just cutting them open out wide. He's the man that has to come on, not just for the instance to keep up and keep pace with the likes of Worth and Morris, but they need him out there to break the line and maybe lay on a try and get them back into the game.
He at least is competitive for pace with some of these flyers in the Eastern Suburbs line. Well, that pass appears to have been forward according to the referee. He's in a better position to see it than we were on that occasion. We'll have to go with that decision, and it's a South Sydney put in from a scrum 5 metres short of the halfway line. Ellison. Now Coleman. Out to Andrews. Mavin trying to bust his way through. Is not using any subtlety at all. I guess it's just all a bit too much for him at this stage of his career. Coleman having a bit of difficulty getting free there. Out to Davidson. 100% effort he puts in with his run. Johnson. Much more pedestrian for pace, but very wholehearted. Roberts. Beautiful pass he delivered there to Andrews. Around the body. Ellison. Another good pass to Mavin. Mavin's upended about 15 metres out, and it's a handover.
Much better attack from South Sydney again. Ian Roberts causing the problems, this time giving away another silly penalty and letting the pressure off for East, but Ian Roberts getting wide and being able to unload and keep that ball alive. That's where he continues to give the problems to Eastern Suburbs when they get wide. Otherwise, they're just running straight to the strength of Eastern Suburbs up the middle of the ruck.
Well, I don't really know what Mavin's going on about there. I mean, it is self-explanatory, and everything is very simple to do with handing over the ball. It's got to be placed on the ground. But it's astonishing that a first-grade footballer would allow himself to get penalised for that. Johnson, who's caught my eye with some solid play in this match, in the opening 33 minutes. Simpkins trying to slip in there between the dummy half with a run. Simpkins. No. Well, there was a hectic pass thrown there by Spina. Andrews. Out to Blake. He's ridden into the ground by a Melrose tackle. Mario one-handed to Coleman. Nicely back on the inside to Andrews. Good stuff. They're varying their play. Davidson. Beautiful pass to Cruickshank. And I think the last pass went to ground. Mario Fennick tries to get a pass away. Gets it away to Blake. Last tackle. Ellison. He's tried for the bomb. Well, it's all but happening here at Henson Park. There's a try there being awarded to Blake, I believe it is. And you don't see many coming from bombs.
Well, you certainly haven't seen it in 1987, but South Sydney, Eastern Suburbs by far the better side in this first half, but the old bomb, the use of the bomb, keeping South well and truly in the match. The ball just touched by Worth, and Blake diving across for the ball there, being left alone in the in goal area, but plenty of pressure. Ellison knew it was their last resort, only a couple of minutes left on the clock, and Worth was surrounded by players, his own and South Sydney players here going up for the ball, and Cruickshank is getting his hand down on the ball in that in goal area, but they've resorted to the bomb. They became well known for it, South Sydney, and their attack really hasn't been that sharp in this first half, and they have gone back to the bomb, but those kicks have been with pinpoint accuracy and 2 tries from 2 bombs.
Yes, that's kept them in the game. Cruickshank, the ultimate scorer. The kick at goal to be taken by Ellison from a metre inside the quarter and about 15 metres in from the sideline. It's there. It's a good-looking kick by Ellison. So with about a minute or so to go to half-time, 16 points to 12, Eastern Suburbs lead South Sydney. The kick-off by Cruickshank to Harrington, who usually, as usual, gets a few metres for them. Boyle on the quarter. There's the hooter in the background. He's still standing in the tackle, so that's the end of the section, with Johnson being tackled in possession. So at the half-time break, it's Eastern Suburbs 16, South Sydney 12. Eastern Suburbs tries have come from Lydon, 2, Worth 1, goals 2 from Porter Smith. South Sydney's 12 points came from Ian Roberts and Cruickshank, both of them coming from bombs. And the goals, Ellison 2 from 2. 16 points to 12. I'll be back. Well, they're about to get underway for what will be a critical 40 minutes of football. Eastern Suburbs to kick off, South Sydney to receive the ball. And David, you've got news from the dressing room.
Yes, Rex, Wayne Chisholm on in number 9. He'll replace Lindsay Johnson. That will mean that David Boyle will in fact move up into the front row and Chisholm into the second row. 2 bits of concern in the Eastern Suburbs camp. Obviously, for the 3rd time in 3 weeks, they've allowed a side to come back at them. And also a bit of concern over Hugh McGarn, the man you just saw in picture. He suffered a knock earlier again. He was carrying that right arm that's been troubling right throughout the 87 season. But Captain Courageous, he's led this Eastern Suburbs side from the front right through this season. He's still out there doing the battle for the Roosters.
Okay, well, the kick downfield has gone to Worth. He's fielded it just near his own quarter. Not terribly much option for him to do except put his head down and take the tackle. Plenty of chases there. Chisholm there, the number 9. He was selected originally in the side, but George Piggins deduced that Lindsay Johnson would be a better proposition for the team. Wayne Chisholm's been brought back in now as a sort of refresher replacement. Hall getting 10 metres, 11 metres into South Sydney's half. Johnson Joe Lydon kicks, and it went between Moon's legs. There was nothing he could do about that. Risked the knock-on. It was a fairly firmly driven ball, so he really did well to avoid it. Coleman, referee indicating touch with a foot. Onto Boyle. About 4 metres from the quarter line. Roberts. He gets a couple of metres beyond that quarter. Mario Pennick. 10 metres out. Coleman. Ellison's kick downfield will be a good one. It's a beauty. Takes play back to within 5 metres at the Eastern Suburbs quarter line.
The sort of confident start that South Sydney needed in this second half with the ball. 12 times they turned possession over in that first half through bad passes or losing possession, and quite often when they lost possession it was on early tackles. And it's also noticeable that their forwards are charging onto the ball and making the advantage line. That's the imaginary line in line with the dummy half in the play the ball situation. In the first half they were standing back and catching the ball very flat and taking their time to wind up.
Hugh McGann. 10 metres out from his quarter. Peter Johnson. Simpkins. Hall. Good tackle coming in from Davidson. He's driven him back. Well, 10 metres. Chuella. Slowly to his feet after meeting Davidson again. Melrose, the kick downfield is not aimed for the sideline. Cruickshank. Well, he evaded one tackler, couldn't evade the second. Morris was there. Marvin winds up. Harrington. 11 metres out beyond the quarter. Coleman, Boyle, Pennick. Quickly to his feet and playing it. Worth will get to this one on the first bounce. About 10 metres out from his quarter. Slips and falls on the quarter line.
David, South Sydney very quick to use that kick when they are in position in their own quarter line. Has that breeze freshened up at all?
Yes, it certainly has, Graham. Since half-time, the breeze has freshened at the backs of South Sydney. It's amazing that last try before half-time by Cruickshank, how we've seen the real spring in South Sydney's step. They're very much a more confident side in the second half. Gary Worth, who had a lot of work to do in attack for Eastern Suburbs, certainly will now be forced to defend with this breeze being utilised by the South Sydney team.
Smith at dummy half. Little kick ahead by Spina. The race is on. Cruickshank makes the catch and evades the first line of defence. Comes back to halfway. Good work. Moon from the left wing, appearing on the right-hand side of the field. Coleman. Pennick driven backwards, just beyond the halfway line. Coleman, Davidson, Chisholm again bearing the brunt of the defence. Boyle. Chuella got him in a sort of a throw on that occasion. Infringement in the 5 yards against Eastern Suburbs. The kick will be well within his range. He's been pretty constructive, or pretty consistent since taking over the kicking. Two from 2. He's about 12 metres short of the halfway line. He's had 69 points this year, a couple of tries, 29 goals and 3 field goals. one of the players that was warming up there was Wayne Chalice, who may come on for Lydon. I believe there's a bit of a problem about him. Ellison, midway between the quarter and the halfway, apparently sliced it, has kicked it dead. The score remains Eastern Suburbs 16, South Sydney 12. Smith gets a towering drop kick away, but it's gone very, very high, taken by Coleman. Cruickshank loses the ball. It'll be picked up by Harrington, and he manages to truck back to the quarter line. Davison picked off before he get into his stride there. Shepherd was the man, and he's very slowly to his feet. Coleman electing to kick from dummy half. This looks like it'll be a good one. Yes, indeed. Another kick that's brought play back to within 11 metres of the Eastern Suburbs line.
Excellent tactics from South, and that bench continue to warm up for Eastern Suburbs with Charles and also Craig Salvatore warming up down there, so they might have their injury problems both in the forwards and out wide, the Roosters.
Scrum to be fed by Spina. Not to the referee's satisfaction. Well, it's feet across against the South Sydney front row. Finally to let the ball get cleanly into the scrummage. That's about 9 metres beyond the quarter line. Well, evidently the replacement has taken place there.
Yes, Wayne Chalice is the man coming on for Joe Lydon. He injured that right leg, and it's been an injury that has worried Joe Lydon right throughout this season. Such a valuable player in the Eastern Suburbs semi-final race. But also Craig Salvatore, as Graham mentioned, is warming up. Danny Shepherd apparently struggling with a neck and shoulder injury, and that replacement probably will happen in the next couple of minutes.
Okay, well, Lydon's off and walking off. Okay, he's not being carried off, but if he can score a couple of tries, the hell with a crook leg. He did marvellously well in the first half. Anyway, back to the action. Good handling there by Cruickshank. Took a pass from Coleman behind him, one-handed. Harrington driving forward. Just beyond the halfway. Still anybody's game. Ellison, Roberts, got the pass away to Blake. Blake's on the boil, gets it out to Mavin, and Mavin's in. It's a good try, excellent try, and the scores are locked up at 16-all.
And again on the State Bank replay, Ian Roberts remaining the key man for South Sydney. For the life of me, I can't understand. I keep on saying why they don't use Les Davidson out there. He's just too much trouble with his height and size, standing and unloading. A beautiful ball it was to Michael Blake. He had the option back on the inside. He decided to go out for the pace of Steve Mavin, and a great comeback by South Sydney. But he caused them plenty of trouble. Here he is bursting and charging onto this ball, taking the tackle. He's too big for them. Plenty of arms being left free to unload there to Michael Blake. He positioned his man well, although the pass was somewhat behind Mavin. He dragged it in, and doesn't he love diving in for those tries, making sure that he didn't lose the ball over the line on this occasion.
And making sure he didn't make a one-handed signal of triumph with the other arm. So he's learned something. He scores a try in a conventional fashion. He's a fine prospect. He did well to pull that pass in from Blake, because it was about a foot and a half behind his right shoulder, and took a little bit of handling. Awkward. Would have made himself look very bad by dropping it. So Ellison can put his team in front with this kick at goal from 5 metres in from the sideline, and about 3 metres short of the quarter line. Ellison. Straight as a gun barrel. Over she goes. South Sydney Eastern Suburbs 16. Kick-off to Cruickshank, and he's in goal area. Gives it to Harrington. Harrington picked off on the 10-yard line. On to Boyle. Boyle goes straight. Looking for the quarter. Roberts, who laid on that last try with a well-timed pass. Coleman finding Chuella. Not too easy to fool at dummy half. Spina went off the tackle there. That ball has hit Worth on the legs. Challenge gets a welcome to Henson Park from Les Davidson. Worth. Melrose. Hall. Way to Johnson. To see the South Sydney centres sprinting into position. Morris. Little kick over the top. Then knocked backwards, taken by Cruickshank. Down by Chalice. Midway between the quarter and the halfway. 18 points to 16 at the 12-minute mark in the first half. South Sydney's way. Coleman, Ellison, Chisholm. Coleman kicks for touch. It will be a good kick. Low trajectory, driven hard, keeping the pressure right on Eastern Suburbs.
And again, great kick from Coleman. That's the reason why South Sydney have got back in front in this match. He's continually turned them around. Eastern Suburbs a tight outfit with a few injury problems. David, another change. Danny
Shepherd is coming off, and young Craig Salvatore has scored an outstanding try for the Roosters, and that 27-16 win in reserve grade is the man that's coming on.
All right, well, we'll see how the action goes from this point. Changes in the 13th minute. Penalty to South Sydney, differential. There's the boy that's just been replaced. Smith and Johnson having a bit of a chat out there. Okay. Boyle. 10 yards out for the line. Andrews. Ellison. Moon on the fly. Caught one-legged. Salvatore was the tackler. Coleman. I don't know what he was looking for there. Playing it by ear, but he got tackled. Roberts, good delivery of the pass. Mavin. Out to Blake, who's weaving. Got it to Roberts. Roberts is heavily tackled. Salvatore came in over the top there and buried him hard. They're only about 2 metres out. Mario Fennick has lost the football. Spina. The ball was wrestled away from him. Simpkins. One-handed pass behind. Oh, it's going anywhere there at the moment, but Smith's just made a good run. He's caught by one leg. Craig Salvatore pumping it up. They're out beyond the quarter. Chuella. Melrose. Worth getting a kick downfield. It's going to go straight to Cruickshank. Takes Dixon on the South Sydney quarter. A tackle by Chalice. He stood on his head. Harrington. Mavin. Davidson. Looking to flick it behind him there, but he took the odds to going down with it. Coleman. Mario Pennick. Out to Andrews. Is searching for extra runners. Back on the inside. Beautifully. South Sydney going very well. Chisholm's there. Got support on the outside. Puts a pass away. And the referee has ruled it forward. Well, there was an element of risk about that, but see it again.
Well, there's no doubt there that back on the inside, Michael Blake had just overrun the man running with the ball. He should have stayed behind him. He put the pressure on Wayne Chisholm as he made the break, but he should have been just holding back. Chisholm knew he was on the inside. Michael Blake's the quicker man playing out in the backs, but he just overran the man. The pass still had to come, but it was forward, and a good decision from the referee. He was correct.
Penny trying to quieten these players down. Well, yes, we all saw it, but I think there might be a penalty come from it. But, David, what's your version?
Well, as that chase was on, Boyle was impeded by an Eastern Suburbs play, which caused a bit of an altercation, which the touch judge came in to report. And quite rightly, the penalty has gone to the South Sydney side, and this could be a very vital 2 points indeed.
Indeed, it could. Boyle was the South Sydney player involved in the altercation. He was held back. I think he was trying to get through to back up. That's the man. Now Ellison, 3 from 4. Great credentials. A simple kick. Well, if there is such a thing as a simple kick. He's only about 2 metres out from the goal, from the quarter line, and about 2 or 3 metres off centre, so he's got every right to be confident. They're coming up to the 19th minute of this second half. South Sydney lead 18-16. South Sydney now lead 20-16, and Eastern Suburbs are in some sort of trouble. Kick off by Smith. It's a hefty sort of a boot to Cruickshank, to Harrington, and he gets out about 15 metres from his line. A good run from the big fella. Mario Pennick takes over the running. Roberts hit round the knees. Man fell like a tree. Oh, Ellison only just got that kick in. Morris. He's ridden into the ground over there. Moon was one defender. I think Boyle's going to be pulled out here and cautioned. And rightly so. The good captain today, placating the referee, not arguing with him.
Well, this is the situation that Eastern Suburbs have pulled off a number of tries right throughout 1987. Their favourite move is a a switch. The ball goes towards the open for one or two plays in the play the ball around the rucks, and then they look for a reverse play either to pick up Huey McGann or Gary Worth down the line. The key role in that move is always Laurie Spooner, who has to bring the ball back.
Johnson runs. They're only about 18 metres out now from the South Sydney line. Morris, McGann, the switch back to Spooner. Hall takes up the running, gets within, well, he's still going. He's tackled 11 metres out. Chuella, not a pass off the ground. Was in the act of falling, got the pass away. There's been interference in the play the ball. A penalty will go against South Sydney.
Well, that was the hand for Ian Roberts. So chance for East, they were trying to set themselves for that switch of play. They're saying to get back towards the game that served them so well in the first half. They were the best team in the first half, although the scoreboard didn't show it at half-time. But they've got away from that. East have controlled the ball well in the second half and had the greater share of possession. But East have got to continually attack South Sydney on the fringe of the ruck. 2 passes wide where they were coming up with all the breaks in that first 40 minutes.
Smith to take the kick from 10 metres out, about 10 metres off centre. 18 minutes to go. The kick is successful. So in this very, very close game, Eastern Suburbs trail by 2 points. South Sydney 20, East 18. Ellison to bring it back and restart from halfway. Crowd here today. McGann takes it. Away to Chalice, who was a top wing 3/4 before injury. Scored some highly spectacular tries. Gillmeister very nearly spilt that one. The ball juggled around in his hands. Chuella. Midway between the quarter and the halfway. Svena. All long cut out pass to McGann. One-handed pass, or it wasn't one-handed, but it sort of took one hand off it as he gave it to Melrose back on the inside. Back to Spooner. Spooner kick is charged down. 6 to go. Gary Worth brings it back. McGann's down receiving treatment at the moment. Here's Chalice up over the halfway. McGann would be a serious loss if he was incapacitated. Melrose. Hall. Gillmeister. The defence closed. A little bit of altercation going on there between Roberts and Gillmeister. Gillmeister resented losing the ball. Oh, Cruickshank very close to being through the tackle there. McGann still down, receiving treatment. Harrington bumps hard, goes through the middle of the ruck. Out to Ellison. He's belted to the ground, literally belted, as he turned to give that ball back on the inside. Out to Fennick. Easter a bit thin out this side. Davidson charges. Talk about the charge of the Light Brigade. Coleman. Back to the blind side. Boyle. On a Blake. Oh, he's weaving and going well. Last tackle. They've gone to the blind side. Coleman tries a little grubber kick through. And it is no try. Force Suburbs did goal.
Good kick from Coleman again. The ball ricocheting and being tidied up by Steve Morris, but they're putting their play together well, and unlike the first half, they're not coming up with the early mistakes, handling mistakes that they had, and creating plenty of pressure on East by being able to control that possession.
Will the line drop out to restart the play? Well, it's not such a long kick. Chisholm, caught by one leg from Spina. Mario Bennick, Coleman, Roberts. Pass went to ground. Marvin's got it. He's going to charge for the line. He's got it. It's a try. Marvin, one-handed, got the ball over the line. No doubt about that. The Suburbs defence have held off. Heaven knows there were enough alterations in that pattern of play there. See it again.
Great support play on the State Bank replay from South Sydney. They were always there to take and carry this football on. Good passing again, Roberts being the man that's linking out wide, being able to unload. And Steve Mavin brushing off one tackle there from David Smith. And one of the reasons why they probably scored, Huey McGann, one man involved there in making the tackle. He was down for some time after Mavin put the ball down. He's not 100% fit at this stage, but they held off to Ian Roberts. There he is, the man playing a great game for South Sydney today. Quick hands from Mallison. He kept the ball alive, and the bounce certainly favoured South Sydney, standing up there and looking straight up at Mavin. He picked the ball up. Gary Worth standing on the line, and Huey McGann trying to help in the tackle, but as I said, he hasn't been 100% since he took the knock. But South's getting away with a lot now. They're being able to run out of that dummy half position very, very easily. East standing back and waiting for South to come to them, just the way the Rabbitohs did in the first half. But plenty of room there on the sideline for Mavin to move in, and just too much power there, and a great second try for Steve Mavin.
Yes, indeed. There's every reason to suppose that Eastern Suburbs should have stopped that. The ball was dropped on one occasion. The player had to go back for it. The cover defence should have swarmed. Ellison's kicked the goal. South Sydney fans are going berserk here as the score hastens on now. And it is South Sydney 26, Eastern Suburbs 18. Oh, how the game has changed. See it again. It's a beauty. Out to the left and swerving back. Great slice on the ball and a marvellous kick. And from the kickoff, everything's happened. They've tried to go for a short one. Out to Moon. Moon's tackled. Now Eastern Suburbs have got absolutely desperation stakes here. There's still time to win or lose a game. There's 12 minutes to go. But they've dropped right off in the second half. 4 tries to 3. Chisholm. Coleman at dummy half. Kicking downfield. Gary Worth goes for it. Chisholm will get there first. He's got 3 in front of him. Harrington uncompromising. Melrose across field. Worth, Spina, McGann. Salvatore running well. Oh, who wants it? Spina. Gillmeister. Picked up from behind. Trying to get those arms free. The last tackle coming up. Spina goes for the kick straight down Cruickshank's throat, and he brings it back to the halfway line and beyond. Coleman, Andrews, Marvin. Davidson. Got the pass away. The ball's been knocked down. 6 to go, says the referee, waving his hand in anger, or apparent anger at that situation. Roberts got a pass away. The ball's gone free. Picked up by Marvin. Boyle. a little bird told me. 18,500 people. That's a hell of a lot of people at Henson Park. Coleman kicks for touch. Oh, have a look at this. No, it's gone over the... we don't have a corner flag there, do you see? That's the problem. So the ball went into touch in goal. It struck the camera. Police are taking it very, very casually, but they have 9 minutes to go, and it's 26-18 in South Sydney's favour.
Well, Greg McCallum's unsided too. He held play there for the corner post to be put back in. If he could turn around over on the other corner, the in-goal area for Eastern Suburbs, they're missing in that area as well.
Spinner at dummy half onto Salvatore. Strong young lion, this player. Chuella. McGann. Long cutout pass to Worth, to Melrose. He's hitting a jolting tackle. Hall came in for beautiful support play there to Smith. McGann again, out to Salvatore, who's decked by a great tackle. Get up and play. It's the last tackle coming up right now. McGann, little grubber kick through, then followed on by Harrington. Now, Cruickshank right through the middle. He slips and falls as he pushed off the player. He pushed himself so hard in the fin that he slipped and fell. Coleman. Harrington. Fennick. Coleman! Coleman towards the line. Only about 13 metres out. It's all South Sydney at the moment. They've got an army of players out here on the left. Davidson goes within 10 metres of scoring. Last tackle coming up, Mario Fennick. Oh, Ellison's in from dummy half. He's done that once before this year, but see it again and see whether everything was done correctly.
Well, great play by South Sydney. In the second 40 minutes here we see on the State Bank replay, Ellison charging towards that line. They played really faultlessly in this second 40 minutes. Few mistakes. They really have contained possession. No marker. Eastern Suburbs just virtually going to sleep, and they've gone to sleep well and truly in this second half. They should have had a bigger lead at half-time, but Souths have turned around with a breeze at their back. But, well, Brendan Hall was the man running away from that tackle position there with Ellison with his back to the ball, not noticing what went on, and Ellison certainly took advantage.
Ellison appeared to me to take a step to the left as he marked up there, or right as you're watching it. But I don't believe that was acceptable according to the refereeing rules. A gigantic step to the side to play the ball forward. He's going to get the chance to convert his own try. The scoreline didn't need it. With 6 to 7 minutes to go, we have South Sydney 30, Eastern Suburbs 18. The horse is well and truly bolted, as indeed are 7,000 or 8,000 spectators.
And David Boyle has left the field for South Sydney. His place has been taken by Paul Roberts in 22.
Ellison kicks at goal and scores. Eastern Suburbs are down the tube 32-18. Changes for South Sydney, David.
Yes, the two centres, Mavin and Blakeoff. In 14 we have Luke Beasley, and in number 29 Trevor Tuckle. But Huey McGann coming off the field. It's a cruel blow for the Eastern Suburbs side. Looking at their performance over the last few weeks, after that shellacking of 32-2 by Parramatta. They boasted one of the best defensive records in the league at that stage. They've got away with Manly and Canterbury in recent weeks, but they allowed both those sides to come back, and again today squandering a 16 points to 6 lead to currently be trailing by 32 points to 18. A great deal of concern for coach Arthur Beetson, and only 2 or 3 weeks away from the semi-finals.
Yes, it's not a very far drop from the cellar to the basement, is it?
Well, it really must be a great worry, as I mentioned, Rex, because a side that can, at one stage of the season, boast the best defensive record and then all of a sudden score some great tries but allow some very soft ones to be scored against them is a great worry.
Yes, Arthur's got his problems. Every team apparently is going to have problems of some different sort before the end of the season. But today it's been South Sydney's day. They are 32 points to 18. They're into the last 5 minutes of action now. And one would think it's an impossible task for Eastern Suburbs. Coleman at dummy half. Roberts on to Fennick. And Coleman are back there directly out from the goal. Is marshalling his forces. Tries to drop it goal. It's kicked. It's knocked on. Out to Andrews. Cruickshank chiming in. Giving it to Andrews. Andrews is only 11 metres away from the line now. I don't know that all their scoring feats are over for the day. Mario Fennick tackled 10 metres out, trying to get his arms free. Coleman. Davidson coming hard on the blind side, was picked off by Gillmeister. Ellison swung to the ground there by French. Chisholm. Last tackle. About 3 minutes to go in this match, which has in the last 10 minutes become very one-sided. Ellison tries a bomb over his shoulder. Taken well, and that's the defusing of that. They'll come back to the quarter line. 32 points to 18. Chalice did well.
The third bomb that went up on the day and the only one that hasn't really produced a try for South Sydney. Successful on 2 occasions. Their kicking game has been certainly made to order in the second half, and a great role played by Craig Coleman in the last 40 minutes.
French coming away with a tough run. Roberts was the defender. Melrose screams his way upfield. Has got through one tackle. Looks to support. He's 10 metres into the Eastern Suburbs half. The ball's been kicked through. It's Chalice's turn to dive on it, and the referee waves for another 6. Morris. There's a bit of an altercation now between Cruickshank and Chalice. They're having a wrestling match on the sideline. But common sense has prevailed. A little bit of bad-tempered stuff going on from Eastern Suburbs now. They've been well beaten in the last 20 minutes of this match. Spina. Truella. Simpkins. Morris. On the blind side, on to Morris. Hall. Salvatore. Johnson throwing the ball loosely. Johnson came in with it. Now we're going to have a touch judge on. And I believe the Chalice affair will be on again.
Fact, Ian Roberts is the man called over. This could possibly have been on a tackle on Tony Melrose. He was wrestling with Melrose for some time. Also Cruickshank coming in for a warning after his effort with Wayne Chalice, and David Truella in there for a caution. So half a dozen, and a time for both sides to sit back and relax and get some breath. This was the incident with Tony Melrose. Well, I think the less said about that one the better. It was there to see.
Yes, that's something the Rugby League could well look at through the week. Eastern Suburbs. There appeared to be a hand over an Eastern Suburbs player's face. This is their last chance to score, and at least make the score look a little bit respectable. Simpkins, Gillmeister, who's had a quiet day today, not been in anywhere near the form. There is the final hooter, and the South Sydney section of the fans comes roaring onto the field to give the accolade to their team. Now then, the scoreline went this way. South Sydney 32, their tries came from Roberts in this order, Cruickshank, Mavin 2 and Ellison 1. Worth was 1 try, Lydon was 2. The goals, Ellison kicked 6 goals and 3 for Smith. So the score, 32 points to South Sydney, 18 to Eastern Suburbs.